A very good morning to you and welcome to the Morning Outlook Report. I'm Rachel Jones reporting live from 𝐊𝐶𝐞 TV Sydney studios. Now, the Australian share market is expected to open lower this morning as shares on Wall Street took a dip. US stocks fell in the final minutes of trading as traders assess risks from China's real estate sector crackdown and looked ahead to the US Federal Reserve's meeting. Uber shares jumped 11.5% after raising its outlook for the September quarter. The Dow Jones index fell by 51 points while the S&P 500 index lost 0.1%. The Nasdaq, though, did rise. They added 0.2%. Now, the Aussie market enjoyed a far better session yesterday with the ASX 200 lifting 0.4%. Local shares did well to improve from early losses as futures were suggesting further declines before the market opened. Investor sentiment improved throughout the day as investors digested the potential broader impacts of Chinese property group Evergrande's liquidity issues. Gains were rather broad, with nearly all sectors advancing. Energy and materials were the leading improvements despite weaker commodity prices overnight. Global oil prices fell 2% and base metals like copper and zinc saw similar losses. Iron ore slumped. That was 6.7% and is now trading at $94 per tonne and sitting at 16-month lows. Major iron ore miners such as BHP added 0.6% and Rio Tinto added 0.5%, but they do still remain near the lowest levels of the year. Fortescue Metals was 0.3% higher, still at the lowest levels in over a year. Losses were led by financials, with most of the major banks closing in the red. The NAB was the worst of the big four lenders. Their shares dropped 0.9%. In company news now, Westpac announced this morning it's terminated its agreements with Kina Securities. That's for the sale of its Pacific businesses, Westpac Fiji and Westpac's 89.91% stake in Westpac Bank and PNG. The terminations follow last week's decision by Papua New Guinea's Independent Consumer and Competition Commission to deny authorisation for the proposed acquisition. The Pacific business was classified as held for sale in the first half of 2021. Now, Westpac does not anticipate the Pacific business to continue to be held for sale in financial year 2021 and is assessing whether any of the previously recognised impairments should be reversed. Westpac will continue to operate these businesses and support its Pacific customers while assessing alternative exit options in line with its strategy to focus on banking in Australia and New Zealand. Moving on, global video technology company Atomos is pleased to announce the appointment of its Chief Product Officer, 𝐊𝐚𝐿𝐴𝐚𝐥𝐤𝐚, to the position of Chief Executive Officer, effective immediately. Whilst currently based in Silicon Valley in the US, Estelle is Australian-born and will return to Melbourne with her family after a successful career in the US with global technology and entertainment brands such as the Walt Disney Company, Apple and Logitech. The EBOS Group is pleased to announce the appointment of Julie Dillon as its new CEO for Animal Care. That's starting in November this year. She joins EBOS with over 25 years with Colgate-Palmolive, where she gained broad experience as a leader across general management, brand marketing, digital strategy and innovation. She was most recently Vice President and General Manager of Colgate-Palmolive division of Hill's pet nutrition business for Australia, New Zealand and Greater Asia, based in Sydney. On that note, it's now time for a very short break, but stay with us for more news set to affect today's market.
Hi there, James Preston for 𝐊𝐶𝐞 TV. Are you into gaming and virtual reality? Does AI and the endless possibilities it entails capture your interest? Or are you constantly trawling through the web to try and discover the latest updates and innovations in the tech space? Well, let us do the work for you. From the latest product launches to shocking affairs on the World Wide Web, exclusive interviews and information about the top companies like Apple and Google to brand new tech startups vying for your attention. 𝐊𝐶𝐞's Tech Beat has the latest in what matters in the world of technology. Join me every single Thursday on The Tech Beat, exclusive to 𝐊𝐶𝐞 TV.
Welcome back. I'm Rachel and you're watching the Morning Outlook Report. The Aussie dollar is slightly firmer this morning, buying 72.65 US cents, with little reaction to the Reserve Bank of Australia minutes release. In US economic data, housing starts rose by 3.9% in August to a 1.615 million annual rate. Building permits lifted by 6% in August. The current account deficit rose to $0.9 billion US dollars to $190.3 billion in the June quarter. Over in Europe, European share markets rose yesterday with the Pan-European Stock 600 index up by 1%, rebounding from the biggest fall in 2 months. Shares of British sports betting company Entain surged 18% on reports that US rival DraftKings made a $20 billion US dollar takeover offer for the company. The German DAX index lifted 1.4% and the UK FTSE index rose by 1.1%. In London trade, shares in Rio Tinto slid 0.1%, but shares in BHP gained 0.4%. Back to the US, and longer-dated US Treasury yields lifted yesterday after an auction of 20-year bonds, as well received from investors awaited at the end of the US Federal Reserve's two-day meeting. Global oil prices edged higher yesterday. That's after concerns around global consumption outlook counterbalanced efforts by OPEC Plus producers to pump enough supply to meet growing demand. The Brent crude price rose by 44 US cents to $74.36 a barrel, and the US NYMEX crude price added 27 cents to $70.56 a barrel. Base metal prices dropped yesterday. Aluminium and copper fell as concerns mounted over the possible fallout from China's Evergrande debt crisis. Zinc shed 1.3%. The gold futures price lifted by $14.40 an ounce to $1,778.20 an ounce. Spot gold was trading near $1,774 US dollars an ounce at the US close. Iron ore was unchanged at a 16-month low of $94 a tonne. That's all from me for now, and that's the latest for your Morning Outlook Report here on 𝐊𝐶𝐞 TV. Have a great day trading and stay tuned for more market updates and economic news live throughout the day. This is Rachel signing off for now.